The massive alien ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a mountain made of metal. Its shadow fell over the United Nations headquarters in New York, where hundreds of diplomats and military officials gathered to witness humanity's formal welcome into the galactic community. The ship's purple-tinted hull gleamed in the morning sun, making even Earth's most advanced spacecraft look like toys in comparison. Captain James Walker stood at attention among the other military representatives, his jaw clenched tight. 20 years of service in the Space Force hadn't prepared him for this moment. The aliens called themselves the Stellar Council, and they claimed to welcome humanity as equals. But Walker had seen the looks they gave Earth's technology. The same looks rich people gave to beggars on the street. The ship's landing ramp extended with a soft hiss, releasing a cloud of strange-smelling vapor. High Commander Reed emerged, his tall, slim figure wrapped in shimmering robes that changed color with each movement. His gray skin had a metallic sheen, and his 4 eyes blinked in different patterns as he surveyed the crowd. "People of Earth," Reed's voice boomed through the universal translator. "Today marks your species' first step into a larger universe. The Stellar Council welcomes you with open arms, and, as is our custom, presents you with a gift worthy of this historic occasion." Walker watched as a hologram appeared above the crowd, showing another spacecraft. Unlike the commander's gleaming vessel, this one looked old and worn. Its hull was patched in dozens of places, and some sections appeared to be different colors entirely, as if they'd been replaced with whatever parts were available. "Behold the star wreck," Reeve announced, his upper eyes narrowing in what might have been amusement. "A vessel from our own fleet, generously decommissioned for your use. While it may seem modest by our current standards, we believe it perfectly matches your species' current technological development." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Walker heard someone behind him whisper, "They're giving us their garbage." He silenced them with a sharp look, but privately, he agreed. This wasn't a gift. It was an insult wrapped in diplomatic niceties. The next day, Walker found himself assigned to lead the evaluation team for humanity's first alien spacecraft. He stood in the hangar, staring up at the star wreck. Up close, it looked even worse than the hologram had suggested. The ship was massive, almost half a kilometer long, but it looked like it had been through a war, or several wars. "Well, this is going to be interesting," a voice said behind him. Walker turned to see Kate Miller, Earth's top spacecraft engineer, running her hand along a scared section of the hull. Her expression reminded him of a kid on Christmas morning, even if the present was a broken toy. "That's one way to put it," Walker replied. "Have you seen the initial scans?" Kate nodded, pulling up a holographic display from her tablet. "Life support systems are running at 60% efficiency. Engine core is stable but operating well below optimal levels. Weapons systems." She paused, frowning. "Actually, I can't make sense of the weapons systems. The scans show they're there, but they're either powered down or something else." Walker followed her into the ship through the main airlock. The interior was a maze of corridors lit by flickering purple lights. The air smelled stale, with an underlying metallic tang that made his nose itch. Everything was sized slightly wrong. Doorways a bit too tall, corridors a bit too wide, control panels placed just a little too high for comfortable human use. They found their way to the bridge, where a team of technicians was already trying to make sense of the alien controls. The command center was a mess of exposed wiring and partially dismantled panels. Several screens flickered with alien text that the universal translators were struggling to decode. "Look at this," Kate called from a console she'd opened up. "These circuits, they're not like anything in the technical manual the Council provided. They're older, yes, but there's something about their configuration." Walker leaned in for a closer look. He wasn't an engineer, but he'd learned enough about spacecraft systems during his career to know that something wasn't adding up. The technology looked primitive at first glance, but there was an elegance to its design that suggested hidden complexity. A loud bang echoed through the ship, followed by the wail of emergency sirens. Warning lights flashed as the artificial gravity fluctuated, making Walker's stomach lurch. He grabbed a handrail to steady himself. "Status report," he barked. "Life support just dropped to 40%. One of the technicians called out. "No, wait. It's back to 60%. Now 75%. The readings keep changing." Kate was already moving, her fingers flying over the control panels. "The ship's systems are responding to our presence. Every time we interface with one system, others adjust automatically. It's like it's learning, trying to calibrate itself to human parameters." Walker was about to respond when a new voice filled the bridge. "Hi, Commander Reed," his hologram appearing in the center of the room. "Is everything all right?" he asked, his tone dripping with false concern. "We detected some unusual energy signatures from the vessel. Perhaps the technology is too advanced for your current capabilities. We would be happy to send a technical team to assist." "Thank you, Commander," Walker replied, keeping his voice steady. "Just some minor calibration issues. My team has everything under control." Reed's upper eyes narrowed again. "Of course. Do let us know if you require any guidance. We wouldn't want any accidents with such an advanced piece of technology." The hologram disappeared, but Walker caught the slight smile on Reed's face. He turned to Kate, who was still studying the ship's systems with intense concentration. "What aren't they telling us?" he asked quietly. Kate looked up, her eyes bright with excitement and suspicion. "This ship, it's not what they claim it is. These systems aren't just old. They're prototypes. Look at how they're interconnected, how they adapt and evolve. This isn't primitive technology. It's experimental. The question is, did they give it to us because they thought it was worthless, or because they wanted to see what would happen?" Walker stared at the alien text scrolling across the nearest screen. The ship groaned around them as more systems came online, each one seemingly adjusting itself to human preferences. He had a feeling they were about to find out just how much the Stellar Council had underestimated humanity's ability to turn their technological trash into treasure. "Get me everything you can on this ship's capabilities," he ordered. "Real capabilities, not what's in their manual. Something tells me we're going to need to know exactly what we're dealing with." As if in response, the ship's lights steadied, and the air circulation system hummed to life with renewed efficiency. Walker couldn't shake the feeling that the star wreck wasn't just adapting to them, it was choosing to help them. And if he was right, the Stellar Council's gift might turn out to be far more valuable than they ever intended. 3 weeks after receiving the star wreck, Kate found herself sleeping in the engine room, surrounded by tools and empty coffee cups. The ship had become an obsession. Every system she studied revealed new surprises, like a puzzle box that kept opening into deeper layers. She was about to doze off when a strange pattern caught her eye on one of her diagnostic screens. The ship's power core was doing something impossible. It was rewriting its own operating protocols. She sat up straight, suddenly wide awake. "Captain Walker," she called through the intercom. "You need to see this." Walker arrived minutes later, looking as tired as she felt. The past weeks had aged them all. The Stellar Council's gift had consumed every waking moment of their lives. "What am I looking at?" he asked, staring at the screen full of shifting numbers and diagrams. Kate pointed to a series of energy readings. "Remember how we couldn't get the power core above 40% efficiency? Look what happened when we installed those Earth-made power regulators yesterday." The display showed energy flowing through the ship's systems in new patterns. The alien technology hadn't rejected the human modifications. It had absorbed them, learned from them, and improved itself. "The ship isn't just accepting our repairs," Kate explained, her voice rising with excitement. "It's using them as templates to evolve. Every piece of human tech we add makes it stronger. It's like it's been waiting for someone to think differently." Walker leaned closer to the screen. "Is that safe?" "More than safe. The efficiency ratings are now at 85% and climbing. The life support systems have stabilized completely. And look at this." She pulled up another display showing the ship's structural integrity field. "The hull reinforcement plates we added last week. The ship analyzed them and created an entirely new type of energy shield by combining our materials science with its own technology. A loud hum filled the engine room as another system came online. Lights flickered, and for a moment, both humans felt a strange tingling sensation, as if the ship was scanning them. "What was that?" Walker asked. Kate's fingers flew over the control panel. "The weapons systems just activated. But they're different now. The ship is incorporating principles from old Earth naval warfare into its targeting algorithms. It's learning our military history, adapting it to space combat." Walker watched as more systems lit up across the diagnostic display. The star wreck was awakening, piece by piece, becoming something neither human nor alien, but a unique hybrid of both. The ship's internal communications suddenly crackled to life. "Captain," a junior officer's voice came through, sounding worried. "We're being hailed by the Stellar Council's observation post. They're demanding to know about the energy signatures they're detecting." Walker and Kate shared a look. They'd known this moment would come, the moment when the Council realized something unexpected was happening with their primitive gift. "Tell them we're conducting routine maintenance," Walker ordered, "and get me a complete report on all our modifications. I want to know exactly what this ship can do now." Hours later, they gathered in the newly functioning conference room. The air was crisp and clean, the lighting perfect for human eyes. Even the chairs had reshaped themselves for human comfort, another unexpected adaptation by the ship. "The Council didn't give us junk," Kate announced to the assembled team. "They gave us something they didn't understand themselves. This ship isn't outdated technology. It's prototype technology. It's designed to evolve, to learn, to grow. They'd probably thought it was worthless because it never worked right for them." She brought up a holographic display showing the ship's systems. Their rigid, standardized approach to technology couldn't unlock its potential. But humans, we're masters at working with limited resources, at finding unconventional solutions. Every primitive fix we've applied has taught the ship new ways to solve problems. "And now they're getting nervous," Walker added. "Those energy signatures they detected, that's just the beginning. The ship is integrating everything we add, becoming more powerful than they ever imagined possible." The meeting was interrupted by another hail from the Stellar Council. This time, High Commander Reed's hologram appeared in the center of the room, all four eyes focused intently on Walker. "Captain," Reed's voice was tight with barely controlled anger, "our sensors indicate you've been making modifications to our generous gift. This is most concerning. That vessel contains sensitive technology that must be properly maintained according to Council protocols." Walker stood straight, meeting Reed's gaze. "The ship is functioning better than ever, Commander. Our engineers have made remarkable progress in integrating it with our systems." "Impossible," Reed snapped. "Your primitive technology couldn't possibly improve upon our designs. We demand an immediate inspection." "For safety reasons, of course." "Of course," Walker replied smoothly. "However, we're in the middle of several critical upgrades, perhaps in a few days." "This is not a request, Captain." Reed's upper eyes narrowed dangerously. "A technical team will arrive within 6 hours. I suggest you prepare accordingly." After the hologram vanished, Kate turned to Walker. "They're scared," she said. "They never expected us to unlock the ship's true potential. If they inspect it now, they'll either try to take it back or sabotage it." Walker finished. "Neither of those is going to happen." He activated the ship-wide comm system. "All hands, this is the captain. We have 6 hours to prepare for an inspection. Let's show our friends from the Council exactly what humanity can do with their cast-offs." The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. Under Kate's direction, they carefully masked the most dramatic improvements, making them look like clumsy human attempts at repair. They hid the true power readings behind false displays showing barely functional systems. When the Council's inspection team arrived, they found exactly what they expected to see: primitive humans struggling with advanced technology. They poked around the ship with obvious disdain, making notes about improper modifications and technological contamination. What they didn't notice was how the ship itself helped maintain the deception, adjusting its readings and responses to match their expectations. It was like the vessel understood the need for secrecy, working with its human crew to hide its true nature. After the inspection team left, Kate found Walker staring out a viewport at the Council ship departing Earth's orbit. "They bought it," she said, "but they'll be watching us more closely now. They know something's not right, even if they can't prove it." Walker nodded. "How long until the ship is fully integrated with all our modifications?" "A few more days, maybe a week." Kate smiled. "Want to know the best part? Every time they scan us, every bit of data they collect, the ship learns from it. Their own surveillance is making us stronger." The star wreck hummed around them, its systems pulsing with hidden power. In trying to keep humanity down, the Stellar Council had given them exactly what they needed to rise up. They just didn't know it yet. The newly renamed Phoenix moved through space with a grace that made other ships look clumsy in comparison. 1 month had passed since the Council's inspection, and the ship had evolved far beyond anyone's expectations. Its hull now shimmered with an iridescent coating that could absorb most scanning beams, and its engines barely registered on standard detection equipment. Walker stood on the bridge, watching as his crew ran combat drills. The Phoenix responded to their commands instantly, as if it could read their intentions before they even touched the controls. The ship had become an extension of its crew, growing and adapting with each passing day. "Captain," called out the sensor operator, "we're picking up multiple Council vessels approaching Earth's orbit." Walker frowned. The Council had been increasing their patrols lately, but this was different. "Show me." The main screen lit up with tactical data. 5 Council warships arranged in a standard patrol formation, but their energy signatures suggested they were running their weapons hot, ready for combat. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced. High Commander Reed's hologram appeared, but this time his usual smugness was replaced with barely concealed anger. "Captain Walker, your vessel has been designated for immediate inspection and possible decommissioning. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Walker kept his voice calm. "On what grounds, Commander?" "We have detected unauthorized modifications that pose a severe security risk. This is not a request. You have 10 minutes to comply." After Reed's hologram vanished, Kate burst onto the bridge. "They know," she said, "or at least they suspect. Our last test of the new shield system must have caught their attention." Walker nodded grimly. "How many of our improvements can they detect?" "Not many. The Phoenix has gotten very good at hiding its true capabilities." Kate moved to a control panel, bringing up detailed system readings. "But they're not really here for an inspection. Look at their weapon signatures. They're carrying enough firepower to cripple a small fleet." The bridge crew watched as the Council ships moved to surround them. They were trying to be subtle about it, but their intentions were clear. The Phoenix wasn't going anywhere without their permission. "All hands, battle stations," Walker ordered. He wouldn't fire first, but he'd be damned if he'd let them take this ship without a fight. The Phoenix's response was immediate. Internal lighting shifted to combat settings, and new displays appeared showing tactical options that hadn't existed an hour ago. The ship was evolving even now, preparing for its first real fight. "Sir," Kate called out, excitement in her voice. "The weapon systems, they're online. All of them. Look at this." The tactical display showed capabilities that went far beyond standard ship weapons. The Phoenix had taken their primitive projectile weapon designs and combined them with alien energy technology, creating hybrid systems that defied conventional defense strategies. "They're powering up weapons," the sensor operator reported. "Targeting solutions locked on our engine section." Walker opened a channel. "Commander Reed, your aggressive actions are a violation of your own Council's protocols. We haven't shown any hostile intent." Reed's response was immediate. "Your continued operation of that vessel is the hostile act, Captain. We know you've activated restricted military systems. The Council cannot allow a primitive species access to such technology." Primitive. Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Maybe you should have thought about that before giving us this ship." A warning alarm blared. One of the Council ships had launched a probe, a standard precursor to military action in Council doctrine. The Phoenix reacted before anyone could give an order, its new defensive systems automatically shifting to intercept the threat. The probe exploded harmlessly against an energy shield that, according to Council records, shouldn't have existed. Reed's hologram reappeared, all four eyes wide with shock. "Impossible," he breathed. "Those systems were completely deactivated. We made sure of it." "Funny thing about deactivated systems," Kate said, stepping into view of the hologram. "They can be reactivated if you're creative enough. And humans, we're very creative." The Council ships adjusted their positions, weapons charged but not firing. They seemed unsure now, faced with capabilities they hadn't expected. "This is your final warning," Reed snarled. "Surrender the vessel or face the consequences." Walker looked around his bridge, saw the determination in his crew's faces. "Kate, show them consequence Alpha 3. Kate's fingers danced across her console. The Phoenix's hull rippled, and suddenly the Council ship's sensors were reflecting back at them, creating ghost images that made their targeting systems useless. What is this?" Reed demanded. "Just a little trick we learned from studying old Earth naval warfare," Walker replied. "Amazing what you can do when you combine simple mirror technology with advanced alien systems." The Council ship's formation wavered. Their rigid military doctrine hadn't prepared them for this kind of adaptation. They had expected to find humans playing with technology they didn't understand. Instead, they found innovations they couldn't counter. "The Council will not stand for this," Reed warned. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." "No, Commander," Walker countered. "You don't understand what you're dealing with. Humanity has spent its entire history adapting, improving, and overcoming. You gave us this ship thinking we couldn't unlock its potential. You were wrong." The Phoenix's systems hummed with power, displaying combat solutions that would have impressed even the most advanced Council tactical officers. The ship wasn't just ready for battle, it was eager to prove itself. "You have 24 hours to present this situation to your full Council," Walker continued. "We'll be happy to discuss this like equals. But if you try to take this ship by force..." He let the threat hang in the air. Reed's hologram flickered with rage, but the Council ships began to back away. They maintained weapons lock, but it was clear they weren't ready to start a fight they weren't sure they could win. After the Council ships withdrew to a safe distance, Kate turned to Walker. "They'll be back, and next time they'll bring more ships." Walker nodded. "How long until the Phoenix completes its current round of adaptations?" "A few hours, but that's not what worries me." Kate brought up a new display, showing complex energy patterns throughout the ship. "These readings, I think the Council gave us this ship for a reason, and I don't think it was just to keep us down." "What do you mean?" "The way it learns, adapts, evolves. It's too perfect. Almost like they wanted to see what would happen," Walker finished. "But why?" The Phoenix's systems pulsed around them, as if responding to their conversation. Whatever the Council's true motives were, they would soon discover that their plan had backfired spectacularly. They had given humanity exactly what it needed to challenge their dominance. The next 24 hours would determine whether that challenge would end in peace or war. Either way, the galaxy was about to learn an important lesson about underestimating primitive species. The 24-hour deadline passed without any word from the Stellar Council. The Phoenix orbited Earth in high alert status, its crew tense and ready. Walker hadn't left the bridge, and Kate spent her time diving deeper into the ship's systems, looking for any advantage they could get. The attack, when it came, wasn't what anyone expected. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. The sensor operator shouted, "They're everywhere." Walker watched in shock as the tactical display lit up with dozens of contact signatures. Council ships appeared in a sphere around Earth, their weapons already charged. But the real surprise came from closer to home. "Captain." Kate's voice crackled through the intercom. The ship's original communication systems just activated. They're broadcasting some kind of signal to all the Council vessels. Walker's blood ran cold. "Shut it down." "I'm trying, but wait." Kate's voice changed from panic to surprise. "The Phoenix is fighting back. It's not just blocking the signal, it's reading it. Captain, you need to see this." The main screen filled with decoded data. The original communication systems hadn't been deactivated. They'd been hibernating, waiting to activate when enough Council ships were in range. The star wreck hadn't just been a cast-off gift. It had been a trap. "It was supposed to be a control signal," Kate explained, her fingers flying over the controls. "The ship was designed to help them take control of Earth's defenses, but the Phoenix has evolved so far beyond its original programming that it's not just resisting, it's turning their signal against them." The Council ships opened fire, not at the Phoenix, but at Earth's orbital defense platforms. Energy beams lanced out, targeting communication arrays and weapon systems. But something strange happened. The attacks weren't having the expected effect. "The Phoenix is broadcasting our shield modifications to the defense platforms," Kate announced triumphantly. "It's teaching them how to adapt, just like it learned from us." Walker watched in amazement as Earth's primitive defenses absorbed the Council's attacks, growing stronger with each blast. The Phoenix had shared its evolution with its human-made cousins, creating a defense network that learned and adapted in real time. High Commander Reed's hologram appeared on the bridge, his face twisted with rage. "What have you done?" he demanded. "That ship was supposed to be our key to controlling your world's defenses. How dare you corrupt our technology with your primitive modifications?" "Corrupt it?" Walker laughed. "We improved it. Something you never could, because you were too set in your ways to see new possibilities." A new alarm sounded. Kate's voice came through again, excited. "Captain, I found something in the decoded signals. The Council's been doing this for centuries, giving gifts of modified ships to developing worlds, then using them to take control. They've got dozens of species under their thumb, all thinking they're too primitive to deserve better technology." The Phoenix shuddered as it took a direct hit from a Council battleship, but instead of causing damage, the energy was absorbed, analyzed, and added to the ship's growing database of combat knowledge. Launch fighters. Reed commanded his fleet, overwhelmed their defenses with numbers. Swarms of small Council ships poured out of the larger vessels, but the Phoenix was ready. Its hybrid weapons opened up, combining human-inspired projectiles with alien energy fields. The result was devastating. Clouds of smart missiles that could learn from each attempted interception, adjusting their attack patterns in real time. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "the Phoenix is suggesting a new combat strategy. It's based on old Earth naval battles." Walker smiled. "Let's show them how primitive humans fight. Execute the suggested patterns." The Phoenix moved like nothing the Council had ever seen. It combined maneuvers from ancient sailing ships with space combat tactics, creating unpredictable attack patterns that their targeting systems couldn't track. Each time they adapted to one strategy, the ship would switch to another, pulling from centuries of human military history. "Impossible." Reed raged as another of his ships took heavy damage. "Your species barely understands space travel. You can't be defeating our advanced technology." "That's your problem, Commander," Walker replied calmly. "You think advancement only moves in one direction, but sometimes the old ways, combined with new technology, create something better than either alone." Kate's voice came through again. "Captain, I'm broadcasting the truth about their control ships to every species they've suppressed. The Phoenix is teaching other primitive ships how to break free. The revolution is spreading." The Council fleet's formation began to break down as reports came in from across their territory. Ships they had given to other species were suddenly breaking free of control, turning against their would-be masters. The Phoenix had started a chain reaction that was spreading faster than they could contain. "This is your last chance, Commander," Walker offered. "Withdraw your ships and face what you've done. Your time of keeping other species down is over." Reed's response was to order his remaining ships to concentrate fire on the Phoenix. But the ship had evolved too far, learned too much. It danced through the barrage, its hybrid shields glowing as they absorbed and redirected energy back at the attackers. "Kate," Walker called out, "show them what happens when you underestimate human ingenuity." The Phoenix's systems reached full power for the first time, combining every lesson learned, every adaptation made, every bit of human creativity merged with alien technology. The result was spectacular, a cascading wave of energy that swept through the Council fleet, disabling their weapons but leaving their life support intact. "How?" Reed's hologram flickered as his ship's power failed. "How could primitives like you do this?" "Because we're not primitive," Walker answered. "We're different. And different isn't inferior. It's just different. You gave us this ship thinking it would help you control us. Instead, it helped us show the galaxy what humanity can really do." The Council fleet hung powerless in space as Earth's defense platforms, now enhanced by the Phoenix's shared evolution, kept them covered. Around the galaxy, other species were breaking free, their gift ships turning into tools of liberation rather than control. The Phoenix had done more than survive the Council's trap. It had turned their own weapon into a key that unlocked freedom for countless worlds. And it had proven once and for all that sometimes the best way to advance wasn't to follow the expected path, but to forge your own. In the days following the Great Battle, the Phoenix became a symbol of hope across the galaxy. Ships from dozens of species, all previously trapped by the Council's gifts, arrived in Earth's orbit. Each vessel showed signs of modification and adaptation, inspired by the example humanity had set. Walker stood in the Phoenix's observation deck, watching as another diplomatic shuttle arrived. This one carried representatives from a world that had been under Council control for over 300 years. Their ship's hull bore the same telltale patches and modifications that the Phoenix had once shown. "They're calling it the Great Liberation," Kate said, joining him at the window. She looked tired but happy. The past week had been a blur of sharing technical knowledge with other species, helping them fully unlock their ship's potential. Every hour, more worlds are breaking free of Council control. The Phoenix hummed contentedly around them. The ship had grown far beyond its original design, becoming something entirely new. Its hull now shimmered with a coating that combined elements from a dozen different species' technologies, each addition making it stronger and more adaptable. "Message from Earth Command," the communications officer called out. "The Council representatives are ready for the negotiation session." Walker nodded. This would be different from their previous encounters with High Commander Reed. After their defeat, the Council's leadership structure had crumbled. The younger members, those who had always questioned the policy of suppressing primitive species, had taken control. The meeting took place in a newly constructed space station in Earth orbit. Representatives from 20 formerly suppressed species sat around a large table, with the Council delegates at one end looking distinctly uncomfortable. "The Council acknowledges its errors," the new Council speaker began. Her 4 eyes were fixed on the table, unable to meet the gaze of those her people had wronged. "For too long, we believed that there was only one path to advancement. We were wrong. Wrong doesn't begin to cover it," a representative from one of the liberated worlds growled. "You kept us down for generations." Walker raised his hand for calm. The Phoenix had made Earth the natural leader of this coalition, but leadership meant keeping peace as well as fighting for freedom. "The past can't be changed," he said, "but we can build a better future. Look at what we've already accomplished by sharing knowledge and working together." Kate activated a holographic display, showing the combined technological achievements of the past week. Ships from different species had begun sharing their innovations, each adding their own unique perspectives to the pool of knowledge. The result was an explosion of advancement that put the Council's rigid development path to shame. Our scientists estimate that combined technological progress across all liberated worlds has advanced more in the past week than in the previous 100 years, Kate explained. By working together, by combining different approaches and viewpoints, we're all growing stronger. The Phoenix's success had proven that progress didn't have to follow a single path. Each species brought their own strengths, their own ways of thinking, their own solutions to problems. When combined, these different approaches created something far more powerful than any one civilization could achieve alone. The Council requests readmission to the galactic community, the speaker said quietly. We offer our technology, our knowledge, everything we have, freely this time, without conditions or controls. Walker looked around the table, seeing the mix of anger and hope on the faces of the representatives. We don't want your technology, he said finally. We want your participation. Real participation, as equals. Every species here has something valuable to contribute, including yours, but only if you're willing to learn as well as teach. The speaker's eyes widened in surprise. She had expected demands for reparations, for technology, for wealth. Instead, she was being offered a chance to be part of something new. To demonstrate our commitment, Walker continued, we're sharing the complete technical data from the Phoenix project. Not just the modifications, but the entire process of discovery. Every failure, every success, every unexpected development. Let it be a template for how different approaches can work together. Kate brought up another display, this one showing the Phoenix's current status. The ship had become a testing ground for cooperative development, with engineering teams from different species working together to explore new possibilities. The Phoenix isn't just a ship anymore, Kate explained. It's become a proving ground for cooperation. Every species that studies it finds something new, something that others missed. And when we combine those discoveries, she gestured to a series of smaller displays showing new technologies being developed across the liberated worlds. Propulsion systems that combine Council energy technology with organic computing from another species. Defense systems that merged primitive kinetic weapons with advanced force fields. Medical technology that blended different approaches to healing. This is what happens when we work together, Walker said. Not as advanced and primitive, not as teachers and students, but as equals, each bringing our own strengths, our own perspectives. The speaker stood, her robes shifting color with the movement. The Council accepts these terms. We have much to learn about. Cooperation. As the meeting concluded, Walker returned to the Phoenix. The ship's corridors now hosted crews from a dozen different species, all working together, all learning from each other. What had started as a trap, as an attempt to control humanity, had become a symbol of liberation and cooperation. Hard to believe it all started with them, giving us their worst ship, Kate mused as they reached the bridge. Walker smiled, running his hand along a control panel that had reshaped itself to be comfortable for any species to use. Maybe that's the greatest lesson here. It's not about having the best tools. It's about how you use what you have. And sometimes, the worst gift can become the best opportunity. The Phoenix's systems hummed in agreement, its hybrid technology a testament to what could be achieved when different paths came together. In trying to keep humanity down, the Council had instead lifted up an entire galaxy. And this was just the beginning. In the observation deck, representatives from different species gathered to watch their home stars. Each one had a different story of liberation, a different path to this moment. But they all shared one thing: hope for a future where progress wasn't measured by how well you followed a prescribed path, but by how many new paths you could forge together.